Hi my loves, you are welcome to Olives. In this video I'll share with you how to sew this asymmetric off-shoulder cap corset dress. So do keep on watching, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into this video. I've cut my back pattern, and this is also the lining. The lining is not a matching color, but I added facing to the back, and I excluded the zip extension because I use denim. Okay, it end up being very thick. For the lining, just going to top stitch. After top stitching, place it right sides facing, okay, and just stitch half-inch. The half-inch allowance we added here, I'm going to stitch it, notch, trim off excess, and understitch on the lining. Moving on to the front piece, I've also cut it out. This is the front piece. I added allowance around the shape of the cap and also the little armhole to the allowance of the front. I used the same pattern to cut out the lining, and here are the caps. Should have named them after drafting. So this is cap 1, 2, and 3. So we are going to join 2 and 3 first, and then add the 1 at the seam line of these two. That is where this notch will be needed. Cut out the lining of each of this. I cut the lining of the top part of the cap with the fashion fabric. Let's join them. You can see all my notches, they are important. So I'll pick this and this, match the notch, and then the rest just goes easily. What I'll do next is to press the seam open here and also turn it this way and press it using a Basque ham. I'm going to meet this notch to the seam line. I'll move on to stitch with half-inch. This is my cap, but it is not as high as the actual cap with the fabric. I'll grab wadding, and just to extend the length, I'll top stitch along the edge. That's the top part of the cap. I made sure it stopped at least about 3/4 or half-inch before the edge of the actual fashion fabric cap. It's definitely okay. So I'm just going to pin this to the cap. I'll be joining the armhole to a sleeve, so I'll go in. There's an underbra wire which is inserted here. I've gone ahead to pin around the cap. What I'm going to do is to top stitch the edge. I've attached one cap. Before I did that, I ironed interfacing or coat stiff to the front piece, and I also created few boning channels on it. I use a wriggling bone. The link on how to create boning channels will be linked down below. I have a notch here, right here, and this notch is the center seam line of this pattern, the front seam line here, which also aligns with the seam line of the cap. Okay, so since this is not a two-piece front, that is why I have the notch, so I will know where to meet them. Just match this seam line to the notch. Before then, I also notched round. I had multiple notches, not too deep. This way you can easily attach your cap because the round side of the cap goes this way. You see, if you have problem with fixing caps, I would say that after pinning the center seam line together, just pin one side like this, okay, and go ahead to stitch and pin this side as well. Continue from where you stop to the end here. The next thing we are going to do is to create a little case. This is how it looks like. Okay, so away from the edge here, make a top stitch so you insert the wire. So I will do the same thing on this other cap by top stitching around. While top stitching, we'll make sure the joining allowance we have goes this way, not upwards but downwards like this. Okay, and then we top stitch. I've gone ahead to stitch round, and this is how it looks like. Now it was easier to top stitch on the boning channel because I used a ridgeline bone, the stitchable bone. Okay, this side, which is also the pink side, goes to the center front. Okay, and this side goes to the side of the cap. Okay, now looking at the cap that I have, this side looks so long. By the time I will insert this, it will be stressful. Okay, so I'm going to begin inserting from the armhole side. So here is the center front. It will go this way. So what we are going to do is wherever the wire ends, we are going to top stitch here to lock it. Now that I'm done with this is how it looks like, and this is how the lining also looks like. So what I'm going to do is to add the lining to it along the neckline this way. I'm just going to pin it, stitch with 1/2 inch. After doing that, I'll snip, turn it this way, and under stitch on the lining. I've joined the sides of both the bodice as well as the skirt. For the Basque effect, it also has to reflect on the skirt. In case you want your skirt this much fitted, while drafting, take out 1.5 to 2 inches from quarter of your hip and use that measurement on your knee. I'm going to place the bodice on it this way, and this pointed part of the Basque waist will follow the shape. Also, since I've joined the front and back of the body separately as well as the skirt, and the joining allowance is going to be 1/2 inch, right? So I'm going to make sure that I overlap the waist of the side by 1/2 inch. I've pinned it in place to secure this side. Okay, I'm going to follow the shape of the bodice. That's the waist of the bodice this way. I'm just going to follow. This is the shape created, right? Now what we are going to do is to mark our 1/2 inch allowance up. We have 1/2 inch allowance from here, which we overlap, right? So I'm going to continue marking 1/2. So what I'm going to do is to cut along this top line. This is it. Now what we are going to do is to place this together with this, leaving the pointed area a little bit above it this way. Okay, and also locating the midpoint. Okay, now what we are going to do is to notch this, the center. When I get to the sewing machine, make sure that the needle of the machine starts from the center. So you just pivot it this way, and we are going to stitch one side. Okay, we're just going to stitch one side, stitch to the back. Okay, after stitching one side, we'll also take it this way, pivot again, and then stitch like this till we get to the back. Okay, after joining the waistline and also fixing my zip, this is how it turned out. So let's move on to work on the sleeve. So I'm going to fold into 2. I want a total length of 7, but looking at what I have here, it wouldn't do now, so I'm just going to make use of the whole length that I have for the 2 sleeves. Try to manage the material. I have some cut off here which is affecting the the length as well as the width. So I have 14, which I believe will be enough. The average width you should have after having your material unfold for a puff sleeve is 15 inches, and I'm going for a total length of 7.5 for the sleeve. This is folded into 4. Here it's on fold, okay? That means it's going to turn out to be something cute. If you want it longer, I would say you should use a total length of 10 or 11. So by the time you turn a lay at the top and at the lower part of the sleeve, you should be having like 9.5. 9.5 is too long, but since it's a puff sleeve, you can pull it up to create the puff. Fold it this way, and I'll try to include a little of the allowance. Meanwhile, I'll mark about 3/4 inch here. So by the time here is being knitting, the rough edge is being knitting, I'll turn a lay and then insert the elastic band. So 3/4 inch is enough. 3/4 inch at the lower part also. Okay, so away from that 3/4 inch, then I'll place the armhole of my dress on it this way. Just going to mark around the sleeve like this. Did my armhole. I followed the back armhole. Okay, so I'll first create my armhole. Okay, so this is my back armhole, and I'll grab 2 sides of the sleeve, and then I'll try to mark in for the front armhole. So I'm having something here. Remember the 3/4 inch at the top. I'm just going to kind of curve to go deeper. If I fold the sleeve, the side of the armhole that goes deeper is the front and the other is the back. Okay, I'll go ahead to serge the rough part of the dress and also serge around the sleeve. All right, so what do we have here? This is the lining of the flare. I use the same flare to cut out its lining. So the front also had this representation, which is the curve. I went ahead to add crinoline to just the lining. So this is how I went about it. I'm knitting the rough edge of the crinoline with fabric, just a piece of fabric, and away from the edge of the flare. The amount of allowance I'll use to turn both the lining and the main piece together, I left it. Okay, so I have 1/2 inch here. So away from the 1/2 inch, I just placed it this way and stitched the edge. I did this till I got to the other side of the flare. Okay, and then afterwards I continued and top stitched the other edge of the crinoline. Just follow the shape of the crinoline, and this is how it looks like all around till I got here. The crinoline got finished. I bought 5 yards. It ended at this point, so just to be safe, buy more than 5 yards. Okay, all I have to do is place the lining and the main piece, which is the fashion fabric, together, right sides facing, and stitch the hem under stitch and turn. That's all I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to stitch right on the crinoline. Okay, I'm going to stitch close to it, not on it, but close to crinoline. The final process of this dress is to add the sleeve as well as the asymmetric flare. I went ahead to mark the 3/4 inch allowance I marked. First, I serged the rough part and turn a lay stitch. I measured my round arm and I had 12.5. Okay, so I divided my round arm by 2. I had 6 and quarter. The right thing is to just subtract 1 inch from whatever result you get. Okay, I think I want the top part of the arm to be a bit loose. I don't want the elastic band to tie to me. I'm going to cut an elastic band of 6 inches. For the lower part, whatever result you have, which is the same to a half, subtract about 2 inches from your result, 2 inches or at least 2.5. Okay, and if I subtract mine, I should have like 10 inches. So the top will be 6, the down will be 10, the 10 including allowance. When the elastic band gets to the edge, I'll secure, and then I continue to insert till I get to the last piece, repeating the same process here. But for this side, I'm going to unpick from here to here on both sides, okay, and then join by my allowance. Let's move on to attach the flare. I'll locate my side seam, which is here. I'll meet it with the side seam of the skirt. Do the same thing to the side. Okay, whatever excess I have at the back, I'll plait it. So what we'll do for the front is pick it this way, meet the edge. Whatever excess that comes to the front becomes the overlap. I'll bring this side over. Also made sure to pull pointed area of the flare up so the front side will relax. I worked on the sleeve. I pick from one end to the other to meet the seams and stitch them together. Okay, then I went ahead to insert the elastic band around, and so this is how it looks like after back stitching the elastic bands together. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'll pull in such a way that the stitch part of the elastic band goes inward. Make sure the seams are open like this. Also make sure the elastic band stays inside. When you take it to the machine, as you stitch, you pull and then you stitch, you pull, you stitch till you get to where another stitch starts, and then you back stitch. For the sleeve, while drafting, we identify one side as the front and another side as the back. We have to make sure the front armhole of the sleeve aligns with the front armhole of the dress. So this is the front armhole, and this is also the front. Match the seam lines and then stitch to the top. Alright, we've come to the end of this tutorial. Hit on the like button if you enjoyed learning with Olives. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Thank you for spending your time to learn with me. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Ask your questions down below. I'll be here to reply. I'll see you in the next one.